We're going live.
Blast off.
Blast off. We're live.
Blast off.
For my love, too sexy for my love. Love's going to leave me.
Recognize the song?
This is your song, not mine.
This is my song.
That's your song.
It's my song. Oh, yeah. Welcome. CLE Sports Talk. We're too sexy.
Tonight we are.
Too sexy for my shirt, so sexy it hurts. And I am too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
I want to go to Japan one day when I grow up.
I would love to go to Japan.
And I'm too sexy for your party, too sexy for your party. The way I'm disco dancing.
I'm only 6 foot dancing.
You know what I mean? And I do my little turn on the catwalk.
See, I didn't tell her. I did not tell Sherry what song I picked.
No.
I do my
Absolutely.
little turn on the catwalk.
Any comments yet? Let's see what we got. Let's see if we're live. We should be.
I feel alive. I feel very alive.
Too sexy for my car, too sexy for my car, too sexy by far. And I'm too sexy for my hat, too sexy
No,
for
Mike.
my hat. What you think about that?
My car is way sexier than I'll ever be.
What's that?
I said my car will always be way sexier than I ever am. Mustang. Come on. Look. Mustang.
Yeah, you're coming right off an appearance on Squad Pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was,
You can talk about that.
that was amazing.
Too sexy for my, too sexy for my, too sexy for my.
I remember when this came out.
I remember the name. They're right and Fred, right? Is that the name?
Yeah, on the catwalk. Yeah, on the catwalk.
We're on.
Yeah, I shake my little tush on the catwalk. I'm too sexy for my cat. Too sexy for my cat.
You want to see the sexiest cat I've ever seen?
Cat.
Here, wait.
Too sexy for
Family
my
What's
joke.
that?
Too sexy for my
I can't see it. There's a
Love's
glare.
going to leave me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm too sexy for this song.
That's a sexy cat.
Whoa, that's a master fade out, isn't it? Thank you. Welcome to Friday Night CLE Sports Talk. I am Lou Marconi, Browns and Cavs beat writer for CLE Sports Talk. I am joined with Sherry, Browns fan girl. How are you?
I've never been better in my life.
Yeah, Browns beat writer for NEO Insiders. And I'm glad you joined us again. We're joined here weekly every Friday night at 9. Please feel free to comment. We'll respond. We're going to have some things to talk about. There's some Browns offseason news. Got a new offensive coordinator since last week. We were on here last Friday. Ken Dorsey. I wrote an article about it. Also, we looks like we're going to lose Bill Callahan, but you can't blame him if he's going to go help his son with his first head coaching job.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes sense to do that. And people are trying to wonder, like, speculation. It could be the Bill Callahan's assistant will step in, or the Dickerman, who was one of the candidates for offensive coordinator. He's a Seattle offensive line coach, could come in. So why not? What are you giggling?
Don't worry about what I'm giggling at.
Yes, and I did just get back from the gym, and I'm wearing a tank top again. It's like my thing now. Why not? So no comments from Tommy yet. So I don't know
No,
if he's
I got
joined us.
my favorite old lady sweater on.
I should wear mine.
You should wear your favorite old lady sweater.
My favorite. I don't have an old lady sweater.
You must have an old lady sweater somewhere.
All right. Well, without any further ado, I did secure an interview with Mr. Jack Duffin, who is a salary cap expert, and he podcasts for the Orange and Brown Report. It was difficult for him to be on here live because there's a time difference with the UK. So he allowed me to tape an interview. So I'm going to play that right now. Is there anything before I do that, Sherry, you'd like to say? Anything you'd like to go over? Because the interview is available on Rumble, and this whole podcast will be available on YouTube and Twitter. But go right ahead.
Right.
What's that?
The show must go on.
Well, I just don't know if you had anything to add.
No, sir.
No? All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let me just get this all set up. And here it is. You should be able to see. And I am wearing a shirt during the interview. And take it away. Okay, we're recording right now. Hey, thank you everybody for joining us on CLE Sports Talk. This is going to be a recorded interview that's going to air live Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern on Twitter, X, and YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. I have a special guest here to help answer questions regarding roster building, salary cap, and issues the Browns face and how they should deal with it. His name is Jack Duffin from the Orange and Brown Report. Sir, thank you so much for joining us across the pond. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on. Obviously, I
Good.
appreciate the time difference. I will be fast asleep by the time this goes live.
It'll go live. It'll go live on Friday night. Yeah, we're during the week, during the day.
Yeah, 2:30 in the morning, I'll pleasantly be asleep.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I would hope so. Either that or you're just leaving, what do they call them, pubs over there? Just leaving the pub.
Those days are behind me. Maybe for a primetime NFL game. If there's no primetime NFL game on, I'm happy to sleep at 2 in the morning.
Oh, that's good. Okay, well, that's good. Those days are behind you. Me too. I'm way too old for that now. Okay, so let's just go ahead and start right now. I have a list of questions. I'm going to dive right in. What are the specific dates Browns fans should keep a lookout for when the team needs to be under the cap or needs to work on the cap? What are the dates that they should look out for? I think it's next month in February. Is that correct?
So it's the 17th or 19th of March is when the new league year starts.
Okay.
So that's the point. You've got to get under the salary cap for the new league year because all teams have got to be compliant at that point.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So
that's
there's no hurry to get there. But then from that point, because when you look at the salary cap numbers, it's like the Browns are this much over the salary cap. That's talking about next year's salary cap. That's not actually this year. And because we're in this current league year, even like these futures deals that get signed, they're actually getting signed from the first day of the league year. So these players aren't really under contract at the moment.
Until March 19th, is that correct?
Yeah. So 17th is the tampering period where teams can sort of technically reach out and agree deals with players. They're doing it at the combine, but not allowed to officially say that. It's the fact that the tampering window opens, then 3 minutes later, some like massive documents already agreed with some player and agent.
Yeah, that's lawyers and everything, the agents back and forth. That's all ready to go. They're ready to fax out the contracts at that point. Yeah, they do a lot of discussion at the combine. What about the Senior Bowl? Because the Senior Bowl is coming up Saturday. Is that the same? Do they do that there too? Talk to agents or other teams about trades?
Oh, I'm sure there's loads of conversations all the time. The combine is seen as the big one of where the big agents, the GMs, and everyone's all in one place. So no, a lot of the conversation will go down there. But yeah, and as well, it's finding out, do teams want to tag their players, stuff like that. That's around the 4th of March off the top of my head. It's like a week or two before the league year kicks off, just so that those players are off the market and they know they've either hitting free agency or they're sticking around for another year.
Yeah, and actually the combine's later. It's February 29th because we're in a leap year till March 3rd. And you can watch it all on the NFL Network and all that stuff. So, yeah, I just kind of did a quick Google search. My crack research team is my Google on my iPhone. So, but that's great. Good. So really, I think they could start restructuring and reworking contracts and extending people at any time. Is that correct?
Yeah, so they'll start doing that from whenever they like. I would expect a lot of it to happen sort of nearer Feb, sort of the end of Feb, where they'll get a lot more into it, just so where they know like what the budgets they need. And some of them they won't do until down the line. So they might agree a deal with a free agent in say the 20th of March. Then they'll do the restructure because effectively it's just pushing a button, and then the restructure happens. So they might not do it until they actually need, because all of these contracts now the Browns will do, they have the element in there just to restructure. Because players are happy to have it. And there's this sort of myth around what a restructure is. A restructure is just, rather than pay them, say, 10 million of base salary this year, we'll just do 10 million as a signing bonus. The players getting the same cash, the same time scale, everything like that. Nothing really effectively changes other than on the salary cap, it doesn't read as 10 million in 2024. It reads as 2 million in each of the next 5 years. So effectively, it's just spreading out payments. It's the same cash. People are like, oh, it's great, this player's restructured. And it's like, the player is not going to see any difference in terms of the money they own, anything like that. It's just a nothingness. It just frees up more budget so you can spend more money now, spread it out for when the cap increases, and it just gives you more freedom, really.
Right, because the one thing you hear about a lot of is Amari Cooper is making 20 million to the cap, is going to count towards 20 million to the cap. That's a lot of money for one receiver, even though he's one of the best in the league at running routes and he's a great number one receiver. He seems like a guy that would be extended and restructured, and we should see that by the end of February, based on what I'm hearing from you. Is that correct?
Potentially. So they could
Okay.
say it's what you want to do with Amari Cooper as a decision here. So he's got 1 year left on his deal, and he's due to get paid $20 million for the 2024
Are you there?
season. Yep. You got me? Yep.
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead. Continue.
So he's due to be paid 20 million for the 2024 season. And so they've effectively got a decision of, they just keep him for this 1 year? They could potentially restructure it and kick it out and sort of split some this year, next year. But that's not going to push it very far, because if he does depart next season, you then just deal with that dead cap once he's left.
Okay.
The reason why you might not want to extend him, though, because if you go and say, hey, let's do an extension, call it 25 million a year for the next 3 years beyond this year. So 20 million for 2024 and then 25 million for the next 3 years after that. If he says, I want to be guaranteed 50 of that 75 million of new money, well, you're guaranteeing him money for next year, the year after, and the year after that. He's going to be like 32 at the end of the 2026 season. And that's risky, because if it's just sort of 2 years guaranteed of going, hey, we'll guarantee you 50 million over the next 2 years, and then there's a team option of 20 million in year 2026, and there's a team option of 25 million in 2027.
Okay.
That might be a thing the team can go, hey, we're willing to do that. It gives us some flexibility, keeps him around for at least 2 more years, but we've got an out. And that's the risk. It doesn't matter so much with the Myles Garrett when you're extending guys that are 26. It's like, they're going to be great for the next 4 or 5 years, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Before they hit the magic number of 30 in the NFL. Yeah.
You go from looking really young at 29 to looking like you pensioner in the stands of. It's like you look like Kevin Stefanski at 29, and at 31 you look like Jimmy Haslam. It's like there's no in between.
That's great. Let me ask you, because I think I saw something else, a tweet that you made too. The cap numbers is expected to increase. Is that correct? And do you know the amount and what date should that be announced?
So it's usually right around the turn of the league year, but they've put out it's expected to be around 242 million. Which is up on last year, but it wasn't what we're expecting. So lots of people are expecting about 255, because this was meant to be the first year of we've paid off the COVID debts that the league sort of said, hey, we're making less money this year, but we're going to spread the negative over 3 years, not
right.
Because if they'd have dealt with it all in 1 year, that would have caused massive cap issues to the teams, because hey, if your budget drops significantly when you've already negotiated deals, it causes problems. And that's kind of the challenge here, that I was expecting another good 20 million in the budget that they could throw around, which suddenly that's down. So it's going up. It's not up as much as teams were expecting it to be.
Okay.
But it's not the end of the world. It's like 10 million. So you just have to tweak what you plan.
All right. And the next question I have is, because I remember back in August and September, there was restructuring that was happening that Andrew Berry did, and they were like 34 million under, if I understood. Was that correct? But now I see the number that looks like they're 17 million over. How did that happen? Can you explain that? Yeah,
so what they do with some of the deals, they restructure multiple years. So with like Myles Garrett, I think when they did it, they effectively got a restructure in all 4 years, and they just put that in so it automatically happens. But then some other deals like Deshaun Watson, they just do 1 year at a time. So when you restructured last season, that creates about 35 million of extra flexibility in that first year.
Okay.
But then you're putting into each of the next 4 years about 9 million extra.
I see.
So then when we get into this year, they restructured Deshaun Watson. Next year's going to go up about 9 million, but this year's going to drop 35 million. And so what they're doing is they're just creating lots of flexibility. They're not instantly restructuring and going, hey, we're going to spend all this money now. Some of it they'll roll into next year. And it just leaves you with a pot of money, because if mid-season someone goes down, hey, Deshaun Watson went down, you need to go out there and have that money to go and, hey, we can pay for a Joe Flacco, we can pay for something else. What you don't want to do is you get to mid-season and it's like, this unfortunate instance happened. Or if you're really close to a Super Bowl run, the Rams with Von Miller, when they went and just consumed part of his deal, well, they paid the Broncos to do it and they gave them 2 picks. But giving you that flexibility that you never know what's ahead for a season,
Right.
you'd rather sit there with a pot of 30 million and go, if something happens, we can do this. We're not going to blow it all, but we can make a move if we need.
Right. There could
Whereas,
be some flexibility, like an Aaron Darnold, or if somebody like that's available. Just hypothetically, I'm not saying I don't know,
yeah.
I know anything, but that's somebody I could think of off the top of my head. Put Aaron Darnold next to Dalvin Tomlinson. Wow. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, the last thing you want to be is sat in that season and an opportunity like that comes up and it's like, oh, I wish we'd have freed up some money. Whereas, in all honesty, there's about 80 million of restructures they could do. So they could do 80 million and clear that off. And that's going to increase sort of 80 million they save this year. And that's going to be like 20 million extra on the cap each of the next 4 years. But the issue is the cap's going up. So it doesn't matter if you do that every single year, because as long as the cap keeps going up, if you push that money out, you get about an extra 25% you can spend because of the increase
The
of
cap,
what's
the
going on.
increase in the cap that's expected, not guaranteed, but expected. Okay. Well, it sounds to me like what they're doing is putting aside rainy day money, or not really rainy day, but when if we're right there, we can get this one guy at the trade deadline, we'll do it. Like, we got the room to do it. We have the flexibility to do it. That's what, if that my understanding you correctly, Jack?
100%. So they're creating
Okay.
a rainy day fund is a perfect way to describe it. And
Okay.
effectively, the other part they're doing, just as a budget overall, they've got what an average team in the NFL would spend in their budget in 2 years' time. The Browns are spending it this year. They're saying the cap's going up by this each year. We'll spend the budget in 2 years' time. But because we're backloading these deals, we can spend the budget in 2 years' time. And that's where people get confused and go, oh, this isn't sustainable. As long as the cap keeps going up, you can spend that budget, what it's expected to be in 2 years' time. And
That was
you
my
can
next
do that
question.
forever.
That was my next question, is this sustainable? Like, how is this sustainable? And I remember one time with an interview with a person that I admire, is Quincy Carrier. You were talking about, as long as they're willing to restructure, which players don't care. They get their money regardless, from what you said. But it's the way the owner pays it out. As long as we have an owner that's willing to do that, which Jimmy Haslam's daddy Warbucks. I mean, he's got plenty of money. He can spend it. So as long as he's willing to do that, it's sustainable. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's 2 things. Is Jimmy Haslam willing to keep throwing money in there? He's spending about 50 million a year extra, more than any other owner, the average across all the other owners. 50 million. And when the budget, you're talking about 250 million might be like the average budget. He's like, it's not 50 million is an insane amount difference between sort of the average team and where we are. So that's one factor. And the other one, if there was another pandemic or some earth-shattering event that crashed the cap, we would be screwed. Not like just a little bit screwed. We would be an absolute disaster. How likely is that?
Happens.
Very, very, very unlikely. There's no point preparing for that as an outcome. And the other part is, you can't just like gut the roster year in, year out. But we've got continuity. We've got a GM. We've got a head coach we're keeping. So yeah, every year we couldn't be like, oh, let's get rid of half the roster and bring in some new guys. But that's not the way you want to operate as a team ever. It's not good management to go, oh, let's get rid of it. You can get rid of the bottom guys that are earning $1 million each and they're on min deals. In terms of your core people, you don't want to get rid of a Myles Garrett every year, a David Njoku, those guys. So it's 100% sustainable as long as Jimmy keeps throwing in the money. And Jimmy deserves a lot of credit. Lots of people have got bad things to say about him, and he's certainly made mistakes in the past. But what can an owner do? He can throw in more money than everyone else, and Jimmy is 100% doing that.
Well, this is money that owners like the Brown family in Cincinnati, they don't have that. The Brooneys in Pittsburgh, they don't have this kind of liquidity. They don't have it. They might have it in assets, but they don't have the liquidity to do it. They don't have the cash to do it. I'm not sure about Baltimore's owner Biscotti. I'm not sure if he does or not. I don't know his deals, but there. I mean, do you want to know why they made it as far as they did in the playoffs and why they won the division? They had their starting quarterback all year. That's how competitive this division is. Every team had a winning record. 3 teams made the playoffs. It's a competitive division. It's a matter, I think, with 2024 coming up and the way the Browns are positioning themselves, it's a matter of staying healthy and how healthy Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb will be. Because I don't see Nick Chubb going anywhere. I think they can't just let him go. I just don't see that happening. Just the vibe I'm getting. Um, the last thing I was going to ask you about is this misconception that I've been trying to explain to people over and over again about Deshaun Watson's contract. Because right now, he's like the 7th highest paid player in the NFL. And probably within a year, he'll be not even in the top 10 anymore. And I just kind of want to know, like, can you explain this 230 million? And really, he's 3 years left on his deal. He's not really going to be traded, not with that guaranteed money. But kind of break it down for people and how it's going to work out, because they could very well restructure them this year and then extend them after this year. Is that correct? So go ahead, kind of explain that.
Yeah. So plan A of if everything goes well would be you restructure the first 3 years, and then after year 3, you get around the table and you would agree an extension. That would be the goal for where you would want the deal to go. Obviously, he needs to play a bit better, and he needs to stay healthy.
Yeah.
But it's one that lots of people look at the cap numbers, and the cap numbers can be very deceiving because you backload it, you push it all out. What I'd always recommend, an over the cap, if you ever go to their site,
Yes, I have.
You've got
over the
you've
cap.
got the tabs there. There's a tab called History, which is excellent. Jump onto that, and if you go down, it will show you the cash paid per year. And so the best way to look at Deshaun Watson's deal is 46 million every single year. People go, oh, but it's 63 million. Look at the cap number. The cap, it's just an accounting mechanism where you can move stuff around. There's lots of freedom for how you record it. But the cold facts of it is he's getting 46 million each year. That 46 million you have to account for at some point. You can spread it out and push it really far into the distance, which is what they're doing. And smart teams are doing it as well. The Eagles are doing the same. Jalen Hurts deal, min contract every single year, push it all out with signing bonus and option bonuses. But Deshaun Watson, if he's playing as a league average quarterback, Jimmy Haslam's paying 50.5 million extra per year. Deshaun Watson's deal is 46 million. So you're getting an above average roster in terms of spend plus a free quarterback. And that's what Jimmy Haslam's giving you. So even if Deshaun Watson wasn't a benefit, you could just leave him on the books and you could still have an above average costing roster. That's how nuts a position the Browns are in.
Wow. I mean, this not only is it sustainable, but really it depends on the health of the team. And really, because I was hearing the number 10-year plan with Watson, because he's 29. I mean, he's about to hit his prime. Really, he is. And I remember I was a season ticket holder last year. So I was at every home game. And that Arizona Cardinals game was like, okay, he's coming back. He's coming back. And then the second half in Baltimore, I mean, the first half was bad. You got to look at the game as holistically, but he played like a champion. And I felt great. I said, because I remember going into that Baltimore-Pittsburgh, we have to split these 2 games to stay within the division. We won both. We did. And we obviously, Baltimore just, went on a run because their quarterback stayed healthy. To me, that showed me he's still got it. He just needs to stay healthy. And I think Nick Chubb, I've seen guys come back from ACLs and play phenomenal. Adrian Peterson is a good example of that. Will he be the same? I don't know. But the fact that he's not on crutches now is a wonderful thing. So everything that I'm saying here, and I'm not just looking through things with rose-colored glasses as a fan, but I'm saying this team has a future. And this whole misconception about, the Browns put themselves in a bad situation with the Deshaun Watson contract is completely false. It's not the narrative at all. Is based on what I'm hearing from you in the last 20 minutes almost that we've talked. So Ed, is that correct, sir?
Yeah, no, 100%. If you were in, say, you were building a roster and you had the Bengals budget, that would be a significant problem. I'm not going to lie. If you're paying Deshaun Watson $46 million a year, and you've got the Bengals budget, he needs to be top 8, or it's not going to work. The benefit that the extra money from Jimmy Haslam gives you is he can be top 16, and that's good enough with the Browns. Because look at what this roster did with no quarterback this year. And when you look at, like, you had 5 different quarterbacks starting games, it's nuts. But it was effectively an absolute mess at quarterback across the whole season. And they comfortably got in the playoffs. They resting players in week 18, which is crazy. You're thinking about resting players of the Browns in week 18. It usually means the season's over and you just want to check the guys for next year. But it wasn't. It was, we're in, this is easy. They had the freedom to do that. So it's one that Jimmy gives you that benefit of it doesn't matter as much, because if you had to go and cut $50.5 million of cash out this roster to make it from where we were to league average, that's Zadarius Smith, one of the guards, where else? Probably at one of the safeties.
Would you say Thornhill? Probably.
Yeah, well, Thornhill 7, 10 for Zadarius Smith, a guard, that's say 14 for Wyatt Teller. Got to get rid of Chubb or Njoku probably, and then one more guy. That's like the 50 million when you're talking about it. That's a massive difference if you clear out a lot of those guys. So props to Jimmy. Keep throwing the money.
Yeah, that's why T. Higgins will probably be available to us, and that's what I'm hearing. I'm seeing the rumblings about T. Higgins coming. You don't think so?
I don't see it at all. I think you tag and trade him. And I think he goes to somewhere like the Panthers, somewhere else. So I don't see him making the market. I think you can tag and trade him the same way that we did with Jarvis Landry several years ago. He got tagged and traded. He's just too valuable that a team wouldn't go, I'll give you a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. And so for a team like the Bengals, it's no brainer. You may as well just take the pick.
Take the pick and time to move on. Okay, well, they can't keep him. In other words, they can't. They don't have the ability to keep T. Higgins. Is that correct?
Maybe for 1 year, but yeah, not beyond that.
Okay.
It just depends where. Chase, has he done 3 years now?
Jamar Chase, I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, because he came out 1 year post Burrow.
I believe so. I think they're going to have to pay him too. He's still in his. I know he's still in his rookie deal. Yeah. Let me see, Jamar Chase. Let's see. Okay, he's 23 years old right now. He'll be 24 March 1st. Current team Bengals. Oh, come on. Let me see. He was born in Louisiana. Let me look. I'm going to go with the Wikipedia real quick to see number 1 Bengals receiver.
Once the player's done 3 years, that's when they can get extended. So they'll be smart to extend him straight away.
This will be his 3rd year. Well, wait a second. No, 21. He was 21, 22, 23. This will be his 4th year.
Yeah, so they can extend him now. So I think they could potentially keep him, but I think it's tag, it's trade, bring that asset back. And that's a useful asset for them to have. If they can go and get a late 2nd round pick from an NFC team, it's a nice piece that they can go and draft another wide receiver to replace him straight up.
Okay. Well, no, yeah, I do appreciate this, but I was saying, like, the future is bright. It seems like this team can stay together, because the one thing we lacked over the years was the stability. And you were talking about the roster, just to close it up. I was at the San Francisco 49ers game. We beat the NFC champions with PJ Walker starting at quarterback. Wrap your head around that. Even though it took a last-second field goal miss to do it, we beat the NFC champions for San Francisco 49ers with PJ Walker starting at quarterback. That's nuts. I mean, it was just, and I had 49ers fans around me, and they were very respectful and nice and everything. They were just like, man, you guys have a good team. That's what they were saying to us. They were shocked at how good we were and how good our defense was at home. So there's stuff to be optimistic about. So
I was actually in LA watching that game, and it was bizarre. I've never really got up in the morning and gone straight to a pub to watch a game because it's like it's in the evening. It's sort of 6 p.m., 9 p.m.
Yeah,
kickoffs.
yeah,
So it was weird getting up in the morning and going, "What am I going to do? I'm going to watch a game." And I'm like, "Yeah, what am I going to do for the rest of the day?" Because usually it's like I have a whole day, and then 6 in the evening is when I watch a game.
yeah,
So it was a weird vibe of like, oh, it's an evening kickoff. I'm used to them 1 in the morning, and it's like, no,
yeah.
it's like 6, 7 o'clock or something, and I'm like, what is going on? So I completely threw my mind with the time difference, but it's one that it's not going to be as sexy an off season as last year. I don't think. I think you're probably looking around 26 to 30 million of cash they're going to go and spend, and that could be JOK's extension in there. It could be one where, say, they sign a player for 5 million. I'm only talking about the cash above the minimum. So right off that first 1 million, that's already sort of budgeted. There's about 26 to 30 million they're going to spend. So less, you're not going to see all the Dalvin Tomlinson and all of those sort of moves we got last year. But you'll just see little bits where they'll add. But the fact that you can build one of the most expensive roster, I believe, in the NFL last year, and go, oh, let's go do that again. That's a great position to be in.
Yeah, and I think too, like guys. Well, I mean, not. I don't want to get into specific players like Zadarius Smith, Anthony Walker. There's some decisions that need to be made because I think Zadarius Smith came on a 1-year deal, if I'm not mistaken, and Anthony Walker did too. Taki is a free agent. I think those are decisions. I was just specifically talking about the cap, the sustainability, what they can do. The thing is they have the flexibility and the ability to keep this team together, which is great, which is fantastic. And I think that defense staying together another year will obviously improve it, especially on the road. So with Jim Schwartz, and we have a new offensive coordinator that's really the buzz that I'm hearing about Dorsey was that, he's the opposite personality of Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski is very even keeled and mild. He's not. Dorsey's not. Which is kind of good. I mean, you might see that. That's a different voice and a different perspective. Well, Jack, I thank you so much. You answered all my questions. We're getting close to about 27 minutes. People can find you at Jack Duffin on Twitter, and you are on the Orange and Brown Report. Sir, thank you so much for being on here. I am Lou Marconi at L Marconi 251 on Instagram, L Marconi 1973 on Twitter, and I'm a writer for CLE Sports Talk. Thank you, and hey, I appreciate it. Thank you again.
One bit, if people ever want to know what's going on with the cap, if you ever go to my Twitter, it's always my pinned tweet. So where's the cap at? Any of the key articles on sort of what's going on, budgets, what's there, I always leave that pinned. So yeah, if you give me a follow and you ever like what's going on with the cap, or someone writes something that's ridiculous about the salary cap, jump to my Twitter and you'll be like, nah, here's the real number. It's all good.
There is a lot of misinformation about the cap out there. So that's one of the reasons why I want to do this. So Browns fans, you can walk yourself off the ledge. You can breathe into a paper bag. We're going to be fine. So that's what it is. All right. Hey, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right.
He is very knowledgeable with numbers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was just like, I was in awe.
That was
I was like,
his voice is so soothing because of the British.
like,
whenever they like speak, it's so like calm.
As opposed to my Northeast Ohio accent.
Is that what you call it?
Well, Cleveland accent. I was told I had one.
Well,
It's better than Boston, I guess. So besides the soothing tone of Jack Duffin, what did you think of the content of what he said? I mean, it's interesting. I mean, very knowledgeable.
yeah, he covered everything.
Well, and I think too, like, well, first off, that 230 million guaranteed you keep hearing from the national media. Well, okay, who's paying that? Are you paying it?
Me? No.
Yeah. Am I?
No.
Is it people on Twitter or YouTube or anybody watching this? Are they paying it?
I just thought of
No.
something real stupid.
What's that?
Maybe it's Elon.
No, Elon's not paying it. Jimmy Haslam's paying it.
I told you it was stupid.
Well, and you're talking about, I looked up an interesting stat. What's the average ticket price in the NFL is $111.75. Do you know what the average ticket price for a Browns game is? $112.15.
Mhm.
So basically, we're 40 cents higher than the average NFL ticket price. So we're kind of right there in the middle of ticket prices. We're not going to have to pay higher ticket prices. Everybody goes up. Ticket price, everything's more expensive now.
Right.
We're not getting hosed on ticket prices. Okay, if that's what you're thinking. And merchandise, you could buy it if you don't have to buy merchandise if you don't want to. If you don't want to buy a brown shirt or
Right.
Brown's hat or
Absolutely.
Deshaun Watson jersey, you don't have to. I mean, nobody's forcing you. And really, the Haslam's paying the money. He guaranteed the money. They'll restructure it. They'll keep moving along. You could see some restructures happening by the end of this month.
Right.
And I think you're hearing a lot of speculation because Andrew Berry said something to the Athletic about how wide receivers not really they're really in assessment mode right now. They don't view it as a major top priority, which you could tell last year by the defensive line was by look what they did. They completely
Right.
overhauled it. So I think they said they have two Pro Bowl pass catchers, which they do. They have Amari Cooper and David
Yes.
Njoku. If you can get a third Pro Bowl caliber pass catcher, you do it. That'd be great. They might think they can develop one. They can draft one. They might be able to trade for one. Who knows? But I could see them adding a receiver. I could see them making other moves too. But the point is that we're going to have a good team again next year.
Oh, no doubt. No
And
doubt.
I think a lot of it depends on how healthy we will be. That's really, I mean, even with the injuries that we had, we won 11 games and we were resting guys in the last week of the season and
Right.
made the playoffs. So go ahead, Sherry. Feel free to add.
Uh,
Ah,
I'm not.
ah.
I don't do the numbers. The numbers are never ever my friend.
Numbers aren't your friend. You're the smart
No,
one.
not that smart. Not like
So I can never cheat off you for my math homework. Nope.
only
Okay.
if it's geometry.
Oh, geometry. Okay. Okay.
Geometry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Also, a little bit with the Cavs. I want to talk about that right now. There was the rumors. Windhurst kind of squashed this rumor that LeBron was being traded to Cleveland, the trade deadline. Go ahead. What do you think? I'll give my opinion on LeBron.
No, my opinion on LeBron is just 100% positive.
Hmm. Oh yeah, me too.
Many, many, many reasons. Just because of all of his nonprofit work and the I Promise school, and putting up housing for kids to be able to go to that school. And
Hmm.
so he, in my
He
mind,
gives
is the biggest sportsman that comes to mind
he
when
gives
I
back to the community. He does.
right. To me, that's the most important thing that, someone like LeBron, like he's fulfilling, I think, everything.
Yeah. He came back in 2014
Yeah.
with a promise to deliver a championship, promise fulfilled. After 4 years back, he went on to the Lakers and he won a championship there in it was a COVID season, but
Yes.
it
Yeah.
was a championship. He won it. Um, I use this equation when he was here, especially the last 2 years from the end of 2017, the end of 2018, just as he left. And we kind of all knew that he was going at that point. It was like, all right, we had the run, four straight NBA finals, one NBA championship. Because every year at the end of the year, is he staying? Is he going? Is he staying? Is he going? Is he staying? I kind of got so sick of the drama. I'm like, fine, just go. I don't care. And I equated it to dating like a really hot girl, but there was a lot of drama. And after a while, you're like, fine, I'm just done. I'm not even mad. Just go. I'm done. It's kind of the way I looked at it because, arguably one of the greatest players of all time, leading scorer of all time. Any team would be lucky to have him. And he's 39. He's going to play for a couple more years. Where does he want to end his career? He's not going to end it with the Lakers. So
No.
more than likely, the rumor of him getting traded to Cleveland, that's not going to happen. I highly doubt Cleveland will give up anybody that they have now to get him. What I could see happening, and this is possible, was when he becomes a free agent, him coming back because he would have a career with Cleveland, Miami, Cleveland again, the Lakers, and then come back to Cleveland one last time. deliver another championship, because this Cavs team is playing like champions right now.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, they won 12 of their last 14 games. I mean, it's insane. I watched the game last night
I
during
remember.
Memphis. Oh yeah, I watched the game last night against Memphis. It was amazing what they did. So I look at it like, okay, he could come back, but there's one thing: his son is being drafted in the NBA draft.
No, that's super. I know he wanted.
He wants to finish his career with playing with his
Yeah.
son.
Right.
Could you see the Cavaliers taking a flyer on him in the second round?
His son.
Yeah, and bring him. We'll say, okay, we'll draft your kid, and because he might not even get drafted. I mean, he might not. I don't know. I don't know where he's at or how he's doing at USC. But
Oh, I don't. USC.
yeah,
You know what it's called, right?
what?
University of Spoiled Children. You never heard that?
No,
You never heard that one? Okay.
no, that's new to me. That's new to me.
And
Oh,
the only reason why I knew that is just because a lot of my friends were like from UCLA and they're Bruins and they're Bears. And I was just trying to remember which mascot like I could associate with.
right.
But
Right.
yeah, no, I remember exactly where I was when the news was coming out for LeBron. Like, is he staying? Is he going? What's going on? I was on a cruise ship on the way to Cuba. And I was like annoyed because it wasn't good Wi-Fi and you always have to pay like a lot extra if you
Yeah.
ever go on a cruise. Like it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And for me to endure that cruise, I needed all the alcohol. And we were going to Cuba, so we were getting some damn good rum.
Yeah.
And coffee again.
I always like Puerto Rican rum.
Yeah, I am not I'm not a booze racist or discriminator when it comes to anything like that. But I just remember being so frustrated because I couldn't get the updates quick enough to the time we were off the boat walking around Cuba. The Cuban people saw that I had the Whatever It Takes shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
They were pointing at me and they were like, they knew his name even in Cuba and they knew who he played for. And it's such an impoverished country, but just for them to be able to bond with, I didn't know anybody in Cuba. So they were like pointing at me and screaming his name with just like the purest joy and like excitement, because I mean, to me, that's how I recognize LeBron James.
Yeah, I could see a situation where he does come back to play with his son if the Cavaliers draft his son in June, and he could start October 2024 on the court with the Cavs. I could see that happening, and he's going to finish his last year or two with us to try to win one more championship.
Right, because he's gonna retire a Cav. That's most important to him.
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, I'm not inside. You think that?
That's what I think.
That's what you think. Okay, yeah, I think that's the possibility. I don't think they're going to trade for him, and I think this too. The thing that I like about this Cavs team, even versus the 2016 team, the growth and the development of this team seemed a lot more organic.
Right.
To me it does, and it just might be me feeling that way at this time. Okay, that's awesome. I'm glad we talked about the Cavs and LeBron. Unfortunately, there's some sad news that came down this earlier today. Actor, former NFL and CFL football player Carl Weathers. His most famous role was the role of Apollo Creed in the Rocky franchise. Passed away at the age of 76. I'm not sure what the cause of the death was. I'm not sure if you knew. Did they say?
I've been trying to look all day and I haven't found like the best information about it yet. But I saw, I mean, it was very, very sad for his family and everybody who knew and loved him. So
yeah, no, even Stallone released a statement on Instagram, which is very good of him to do. I would say, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, our condolences as well from here at CLE Sports Talk. Rocky is considered one of the greatest sports movies of all time, and I'm sure he was really
Yeah.
glad to be a part of it. I also remember him in Predator with Arnold. Get to the chopper. I get a chance to do Arnold, I'm going to.
I know. It's so funny. Wait, that's why. Wait, what? What would Arnold say about that?
Put the cookie down. Did you
Arnold.
get that? Did you get that reel I sent to you about the Dunkin' Donuts
Oh, the
iced
sugar
coffee?
coffee.
Ugh,
Wow.
156 grams of sugar. Wow.
I could use that before the gym.
Yes. Wow, that's insane.
It's
That's
so much.
insane.
It's so much sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't comprehend how.
Another thing, well, tomorrow night, the Cavaliers are going to be in San Antonio. Won't forget. And Jarrett Allen is questionable with tweak of his ankle. He'll probably be okay. I think I saw people on Twitter complaining, we just got healthy. Well, he tweaked it. I think it might be something might hamper him for a little bit, but we're about once we hit All-Star break, I think he's fine. And Jarrett Allen's been playing fantastic. I think the whole team, including Donovan Mitchell, has been
Really
playing great.
love Jarrett Allen.
Yes, great guy, great guy. Another,
Really
I just like this team. I really like the way this team is
smiles.
playing.
He's
Mhm.
genuine. He doesn't seem like he's trying to impress people. He doesn't
Yeah,
seem like he's looking for the spotlight for just himself.
mhm.
Like he's a team player, huh? Right?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely,
I know a lot of
absolutely.
people were upset because maybe he was too small for the position he was. I don't know. People get upset
For to play
over.
center. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the Cavs just got back Evan Mobley and Darius Garland, which helps out immensely.
Right.
And the way they've been playing despite these injuries, I kind of did the article about the Browns and the Cavs, like Cleveland is Believeland for
Yeah.
the Browns and Cavs. So, yeah, I like that. That was just my idea because I'm like, wow, Browns and Cavs. I wouldn't be surprised. And call me crazy, people that are watching or people that are listening or whatever. Um, could this happen where you see another NBA championship won by the Cavaliers with or without LeBron? Because this is a championship caliber team right now, the way they're playing. Could you also see that with a Super Bowl championship with the Browns within the next 3 or 4 years?
Yes.
Yeah. I
That's
mean, so we went from not having a championship from 1964 to 2016, and now we're going to go possibly within the last 10, we're going to go 10 or 12 years. Okay. You're going to go about 10 or 12 years and win three, two with the Cavs and one with the Browns. And who knows what kind of run the Browns can go on. I
right.
mean, well, you just saw with the interview that I did with Jack that, he
Right.
pretty much said, as long as something catastrophic doesn't happen again, like a COVID,
Right.
which I highly doubt that'll happen again because I think people will be really ticked off if they try it again. You'll
That's
see it.
another thing that is
That's another thing. I just
pandemic.
see like, well, the last major pandemic was in 1919, the Spanish flu, correct? Late 19 teens,
Yes.
the Spanish flu. So you're talking about 100 years apart. So probably not for another 100 years. We see another pandemic like that. That's usually how viruses work, unless something crazy man-made escapes from a lab somewhere.
Which you
Mm.
you remember the Andromeda Strain? Did you ever read that book?
Yes, yes, yes. We're not going to do that. Yes.
I'm on my best behavior.
Yes, best behavior.
Best behavior.
Best behavior. So, yeah, just to recap what we've talked about. Hey, guys, it was great to have that interview with Jack. I really appreciated him doing that. I'm going to make sure to send this show. I'm going to send the interview to him. Um, it was really very informative to understand like what these ESPN people are talking about when it comes to just Cleveland in general. But I think it's also with the Browns. It's like they just kind of shrug their shoulders and don't really think much of Cleveland or seeing Cleveland
Yeah.
as a championship level. And yeah, I mean, we have an owner that's willing to spend the money. Guys, quit your bitching.
Yeah, there's no
We-
reason.
no, no.
Zero.
I hate to say it. I hate to say it. I'm not seeing any comments today, so maybe Tommy's not around. Uh, but I just want to say, if you want to
Oh
comment,
my
say
God.
whatever you want about this. But yeah, there's nothing to complain about. Also, before I forget, and before I forget anything else, because we got about 10 minutes left on the show. Great appearance on the Squad Pod.
We had so much fun.
Yes,
You could tell.
that was great. And Ed in Columbus, I just started following him on Twitter. He followed me back.
No,
And you know,
Ed is amazing. Yeah.
oh yeah. Well, I would just say, like, the man doesn't have an indoor voice.
Well, I told you about my so I'm used to Ed's inside voice. It's very similar to my mom.
I grew up in an Italian household, so yeah. I mean, we don't have indoor voices. But I was like, whoa! As soon as he started talking, he's pretty over the top
Oh, I
personality
love
wise.
just let Ed go. Let Ed
Yeah,
work his
just let him go.
magic. Just
Just let him riff
enjoy.
and do his thing.
Let him
Yeah, so it was
Ed
interesting to see that. So hopefully one day they'll invite me on the Squad Pod, and I'll probably have to wear a shirt.
You should wear a fancy, like, formal shirt, like, with the tuxedo.
The sleeveless tuxedo. What?
Or that's the T-shirt, right? The T-shirt
Yeah,
that do you
yeah.
have one of those?
Probably do somewhere.
You
I don't
should.
know. Well, the other thing too, Yvette, I'm waiting to see this come out because she was talking about doing her series or the podcast she's going to do about the Youngstown Mafia, which
Yeah.
that really piqued my interest. There was a movie. Did you ever hear of it called Kill the Irishman? Have you ever heard about Danny Green?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's what the movie's about.
Yes.
Christopher Walken's in it, if I'm not mistaken. And
'Cause all my neighbors told me about it, and the parking lot is, like, identical to when the whole Danny Green thing happened. Cause that building's, like, right next to where I live.
mhm.
So I was excited to see, like, that mob lore being so close to.
Oh yeah, well that tied into the Youngstown Mafia, absolutely. The
Right,
Cleveland
right.
Mafia,
Well,
yeah.
you know my mafia background history.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I brought it up because
Yeah. If there's
yes,
one woman who knows it the best and can give you, depending on how long of a time you have to hear her go off, it's my mother.
yeah, there's several people that are in this movie. There's Ray Stevenson played Danny Green. Christopher Walken was in it. He played a mobster. Val Kilmer had a part in it too.
Wow.
Yeah,
Have
Val
you
Kilmer did.
have you ever seen Val Kilmer as a mobster before?
Uh,
I don't
I don't-
I don't know. He was a
yeah,
Batman.
yeah. Well, he plays. Yeah, Val Kilmer has his part too. So it's about Danny Green. It's about well, I think it was the medical building on Cedar and Brainerd
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the
yep,
bomb blew up.
yep.
Yeah, I
It's still there.
oh
It's
yeah, that medical
still
building's still there. Interesting story. Interesting story. The people that were convicted of the bombing because a woman saw the car drive away, and the woman that saw them was a police sketch artist.
there.
So she was able to draw their pictures.
Oh,
I'm not kidding. So she did that, and they
really?
were identified, and they were brought to trial. Guess who defended them in court? You never believe. Do you know the name Carmen Policy? He was
No?
the original group that bought the expansion Browns was Al Lerner and Carmen
And that's not a
Policy.
Simpsons joke, that's his real name?
What's that?
That's his real name, it's not a Simpsons gag?
No, Carmen Policy was the name. Carmen Policy was the defending attorney at that time. It was in the 70s for for the murders of Danny Green.
Wow,
Mhm. And he's from Youngstown. Yeah, Carmen Policy was a part of
wow,
the San Francisco 49ers with the DeBartolo group. Yep. Yeah.
wow.
So honestly, yeah, it's one of it's yeah, it's an interesting story. I just always thought it was like so that's why I was looking forward to that with you. See how it tied in with the Cleveland Mafia. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a movie called Kill the Irishman. Christopher Walken's probably the most famous actor in it. Ray
yes.
Stevenson, yeah, he passed away last May. He passed away almost a year ago. And I'm trying to think how old was he? He played Danny Green. He did a good job. Oh, geez. He was only 58 when he died.
Really?
Yeah, very young.
No.
Yeah, he was on the Ahsoka series too. The Star Wars Disney Plus with what is her name? She played jeez. She was I got to
Natalie Portman?
no. She plays Ahsoka Tana. What is her name? I am going to freak out. Hang on, I'll get it. I'll get it. She's oh, Rosario Dawson.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Rosario Dawson. Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah. She plays Ahsoka in that. So, but it's interesting. We started talking about the movies. If people want to check it out, it's about Cleveland Mafia, Kill the Irishman. Pretty cool movie. It's also a book too about Danny Green. So that's why it kind of piqued my interest when that was brought
Right.
up on the Squad Pod. It's like, oh, Mafia, okay, and then
Yeah.
your mom tells her story. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And she thinks this is called Lou and the Jew. That's awesome. I love it.
She, she has a lot going on over there. She like if you ask her to talk about the mafia, she would give you a TED talk that would never, ever, ever come to an end.
Yes. Yes.
I
How did
forgot.
I forget Rosario Dawson? Because a lot of people compare Christine, my wife, to
Yeah.
Rosario Dawson. You could see the
Yeah, I see
similarities.
it. I see it.
That and Jessica Alba. They say that too.
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, so well, she's biracial, so if people watching want to know what my wife looks like. People think I remember I told who did I tell it to? It was a lot you and Lana was a lot of times people will see her and they think she's Puerto Rican.
Oh,
They'll
right.
go up to her and they speak Spanish, and she doesn't speak a word of Spanish. She has no idea what they're saying. It's kind of funny, but all right, awesome. Well, we did get a lot in. I know we talked about the Cavs. Any thoughts on Ken Dorsey as the new OC? Since
We just gotta
nothing,
wait. We gotta wait and see.
yeah, I think when it comes to Bill Callahan leaving and who they bring in and
Right.
all the moves that they make, let's look at the offseason holistically.
Yes.
Let's sit here after the draft. Let's see what happens. You got the Senior Bowl tomorrow.
Right.
The Senior Bowl is more. It's not about the game. It's about the practices, and
Yeah.
that's where the coaches get a chance to really take a look at these seniors. East-West Shrine game already happened, so we got that, and then we got the Super Bowl next Sunday. We'll be back here on Friday. We'll talk about the Super Bowl, maybe give predictions. Um, I don't think Travis Kelsey will propose to Taylor Swift after the game on Super Bowl.
I don't.
I don't know.
Mm.
I really the Taylor Swift thing, but for the people, for the record, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't care. It does. It really. I'm not. I mean, I'm not big into her music, but then
Oh,
again,
you were the biggest Swiftie.
I'm not a Swifty. You
Okay.
surprised? No, I'm not a Swifty.
I'm surprised and mildly disappointed.
I remember Lana wanted to talk about sequin dresses. And I'm like, okay, go ahead. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. I
But
still like
yeah,
my
no,
favorite sequin dress.
it's just stuff for people to talk about. That's all it is.
Mhm.
It's content, and you know what? She's a grown woman. Travis Kelsey's a
Right.
grown man, and they're dating. So hey, more power to them. Hey, if they make each other happy. I'm happy
Right.
for them.
Right.
I could care less. I honestly was so happy that Baltimore lost. I was very happy, and actually, I did get a chance to talk to the other fellow Squad Pod member, Lysandra, this week via
Mhm.
Twitter messaging.
Yes.
I'm glad she's doing better, Lysandra. Our prayers are with you and your family. So we're glad that you're getting better. We're glad your
Yeah.
situation's getting better. But she said that was the best thing that happened to her in the last few weeks was Baltimore losing. So
Yeah.
yeah, and actually the one interception Lamar Jackson threw, I was like, where was he throwing that to? Baltimore had a chance. They did, and they just
I sure
didn't
did.
go. They had 3 trips down to the red zone. Ended in turnovers. The one turnover by Flowers when he was trying to, get the ball over the goal line. It got popped out right before it broke the plane and became a touchback. Similar to what happened when it was Hollywood Higgins with us in the playoff
Right.
game.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I
went
remember
back to that. Yeah, so interesting. Okay, well, did you have any closing thoughts before I play the music?
that. Closing thoughts. They're always
Yeah,
the same.
a final thought, Jerry Springer.
No. Be kind to everybody. You don't know what anybody's going through. Be nice, behave,
Hmm.
take your coffee, take your vitamins.
Train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins,
Exactly.
brother. Yeah, and I don't have a complex. I just like to wear tank tops. It's a
Never
pleasure.
tank top.
Yeah, is there any I'm trying to think. I always do this. After I'm done with the show, I think about it later. I said, "Damn it. Could have done something." Well, it's 10 o'clock. We did our hour. We're happy. I hope you're happy. Go Browns, go Cavs. We'll talk Browns and Cavs next week. We'll have other ones. Hopefully, I can get Paul Brown on. And Jack Duffin, again, special thanks to you for that information. It's very informative. We could have talked for hours. We could have talked a long time, but it's a very sustainable model the Browns have. And
Right.
guys, the Browns are going to be around for a while. We're going to be a good team for a while. And I think we need to consistently be a good team, maybe even win a championship or two to get that stigma of a losing franchise off of
Yeah.
us. So it's going to take time. We've been patient. Enjoy it because we're going to have a good team. We're going to have a competitive team again. Now, just hopefully we stay healthy. Hope Nick Chubb comes back healthy and just take the offseason holistically and just catch your breath. Whoever's the offensive coordinator, whoever's the offensive line coach, take a chill pill. We're going to be fine. And on that note,
I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's going to leave me.
You're such a better dancer than I am.
it's at night at the Roxbury.
I'm remembering all my bar mitzvah moves.
I'm too sexy for my shirt, too sexy for my shirt.
This song is totally me. You know that.
Yes. Why do you think I'm
You're laughing.
blasting it?
So
I
much.
know.
Too sexy for Milan, New York, and Japan.
I'll have a shirt on next week. Don't worry.
A shirt of some sort.
And I'm too sexy for your party, too sexy for your party. The way I'm disco dancing, I'm a model, you know what I mean? And I do my little turn on the catwalk, yeah, on the catwalk.
Hey, folks, if you're listening, catch the Sunday Stew Pod. Sundays on Rumble. We're going to talk about Vince McMahon. My biggest fan of the Sunday Stew Pod's right there. Myself and Corey Castro.
Oh,
You'd think my wife would be the biggest fan. She just rolls her eyes.
aw.
Too sexy for my car, too sexy for my car, too sexy by far. And
Well-endowed
I'm too
stallion.
sexy for my hat, too sexy for my hat.
Wait till I'm on the squad pod. I'll just be like,
You know what
Get the hat.
and I do.
We
I
can
love
get
it.
the hat.
On the catwalk,
should I wear that hat?
yeah, on the catwalk,
Yes.
on the catwalk, yeah.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, my friend Harvey called
on the
and
catwalk.
the first payment for next year's season ticket was already made. They already sent it out, yeah. It's due February 1st. So we switched off once. There's like 4 payments. He does the first month, I do the second, fourth. He does the
Right,
first and
right.
third. And I said, he's talked about that there's other seat options, and then there's all these other steps to take. And he's like, forget it, we'll just keep our seats. I said,
Yeah.
I was happy with those seats. I was fine
That
with
was
it.
my
Oh, yeah. I like being up that high. I like being able to watch the places though. So I'll be back next year.
Me too.
I'm too sexy for my cat, too sexy for my cat, poor pussy cat. I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's going to leave me. And I'm too sexy for this song.
Good night, everybody. Show's over.